Good morning, everybody. All right, we've got an instrument cluster in for repair today. Now, this is has been a bit of a nightmare repair. We'll show you some photos first, and we'll flip the board over and show you what's been done. So this, as you can see, is an MQB instrument cluster, 2018 Volkswagen, 28,000 Ks on it. Now, someone has attempted to read the data from this to program keys for it. So I'll just turn the power supply off, and we'll flip this board around, and I'll show you some photos. Now, as in a previous video that I think we've done, when you program keys to these vehicles, you need to pull a pin up off the processor to get a read from it. And what we've found when we've come to this particular job is someone's pulled the pin up, but pulled the pin completely off the processor. There's nothing left there. They've also pulled the pad off the board as well. So as far as repairing that, this pin was pulled off. These two were wonky, so I was able to straighten these two out. This pin we had to repair, and this pin was actually only held on by a thread. It was cracked right across the top there. So that pin there comes straight off as soon as I poked it, and then that pin is completely gone. So as far as we go repairing this, which I'll show you under the microscope what we've done. It's messy at the minute because we've got to clean it down, but what we had to do was grind into the actual processor. So we had to cut into the processor on the corner. It's got UV mask all over it at the minute. When I did that, I saw that this corner pin and this corner pin are joined together. They are inside the processor, they're shorted out and they're joined together. So we run a jumper straight from this pin to this pin here. That fixed that. And then I had to tack on a wire, as you can see. Once we've ground it down, tack on a wire onto the trace for that leg. So it's that leg on the photo. I tacked that on the actual processor, sort of bent it up and around so it's sitting flat, and then down onto the board here where it goes. So that leg normally runs out down to this capacitor and then over to this point here, this through hole. So that's tacked on there, and as you could see, if I hook this power supply back up, we have managed to bring this thing back to life. Now, the repair should be fine, it should last. I am going to sort of go the extra step with it. And there we go, as you can see, it's all back to life. But I'm going to go the extra step. I'm actually going to pull that tack off that we just did on that jumper wire, read the data out of this as a backup. So if it does end up failing again, or has a connection issue or something intermittently, then we can clone this data over to a donor dash, because I don't like grinding into processors like that. Like I've seen people do it before. I've done it a couple of times, but it's not an ideal repair. You know, normally you would replace that processor, but you can't buy them, and you know the dashes are thousands of dollars, etc, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to detack that. We're going to read all the data out of this dash as a backup. Once that's done, I will retack it, put UV mask over that whole area, same as we already have, just to cover everything up, and see how it goes. Alright, so as you can see, we have got our data out of that processor, so that's a full data extracted from it. That's all our flash. There's everything stored in there, from mileage to coding, vehicle specific data, keys, etc, key sequence, start sequence, etc. So it's got everything in there. That is all sorted. So that's our coding taken out of that module. That's our flash taken out of that module. So if we do need to make a full backup and transfer it onto another one, we can. And then yeah, as long as it's the same part number dash, that's fine. That'll work fine. So happy days.